If you are not familiar with who I am, my name is Alexandru Zloteanu. But to make it much easier for you, you can just call me Alex Zed. I'm working in product management in a large corporation in Austria. I am a passionate professional German teacher. I am a proud dad of 2 daughters who are both in school. And I've been living since 2010 in Germany. I'm also the creator of GermanSuperfast.com. Look, I'm a regular guy, just like you, who has made a passion of helping others succeed in a German-speaking country. The bottom line of what I do is I teach, I create courses, and I serve people like you who want to speak German so they can succeed in their work and life in a German-speaking country, Germany, Austria, even Switzerland. But how it all began with my passion for learning German. I was about 20 years old and I was madly in love with this girl who was also a colleague of me in the university. She could speak very well German. She and her parents have lived in Germany for a couple of years and she used to go to school there. One day, sitting on a bench in this park in Bucharest, I was telling her how frustrated I was after several attempts to learn German in the past. We agreed that the best way for me to learn German was to go to the courses of one of the famous German institutes in Bucharest and start there from zero. The next day she brought me about 7-8 books for learning German. Maybe they will also help, she said. I put them aside and a few days later I went to this German language training center to ask which course would be most appropriate for me. My goal was to obtain a certificate, the equivalent of C1 today, basically medium to advanced, that would allow me to study abroad one day in Germany or Austria. So I asked the secretary how long it would take to obtain this certificate. She asked back if I learned German in school before, and I said no. In this case, she said, you would need about 10 years of courses in this institute to reach this level. What? 10 years? I swear I will never forget this day. So I went home and I made a commitment to myself that I would obtain this certificate in less than 2 years. It had to be a way to get this certificate faster, I told myself. And I took out the books I borrowed from my girlfriend and I started to learn a few hours per day, every day, no exception. How have I learned? I went through every lesson. I was doing all the exercises in these books over and over again. I was searching in the dictionary for every word. And I started to read my first novel, Zanzibar oder der letzte Hund, just a few weeks after I started to learn German. Can you imagine this? I was watching only German television. I was speaking aloud. I tried to break down the logic of the sentences, the phrases of the composed words. I also borrowed German magazines such as Spiegel, Der Spiegel, and I was trying to read through. I did everything possible, exactly like in a survival situation, like in a survival show actually. I'm still wondering what gave me this energy, the motivation to learn German so fast. Many years after I understood what it was, I was visioning all the time what for opportunities speaking German would bring into my life. I was seeing myself in Germany. I was seeing myself talking to people in German. It's unbelievable. And, of course, I wanted to make my girlfriend proud of me. 6 months later, I went back to this German institute and I could directly attend a B2 course. I was so happy with my accomplishment, you cannot believe it. Another 6 months have passed and I was admitted to the preparatory course for the certificate I needed to study in Germany. Finally, in the next summer, I passed the exam and I obtained the C1 certificate. Was it hard work? Yes, it was. Was it worth it? 100%, 100%. Speaking German has opened for me new possibilities and influenced my life completely. I studied in Germany for 2 semesters. I obtained my first job thanks to speaking German. I obtained my second job thanks to speaking German at a company called Bosch, maybe you know it. A few years later, my girlfriend, who borrowed me these books for learning German, became my wife. 10 years later, and after our first daughter was born, my wife told me that the German company she was working for offered her a job in South Germany. I said, no problem, let's do it, let's go, we'll figure it out, I'll find a job. And this was no problem indeed. After a few months in Germany, I could choose between several job offers. And beside the experience I had and the qualifications, the big plus was that I was speaking German. So you see, the reason for learning German was not learning German itself. It was for all the things that speaking German allowed me to do. So what has speaking German enabled me to do since I've been living in Germany and working in Austria? First and foremost is the quality of life. Guys, I've been having a fantastic life in a superb little town in south of Germany, surrounded by nature and very close to the Alps. We even have 2 pets, a big dog and a black cat. They are like family members for us. So my kids, my wife and I spend a lot of time outside in the nature, biking, skiing, swimming, playing tennis, meeting friends, German and Austrian friends or international families who share the same interests as we are. I tell you, it's so nice to be able to organize and to visit parties, to have relationships with the people around you without being stressed out that they cannot understand you and you don't understand them. So week after week, month after month, I was getting better and better, and foreign colleagues and friends living in Germany or in Austria or in Switzerland started to ask me how could I speak so well German, how come that I know so many words and expressions, and how come that I am so confident in any situation. They started to ask for my advice, and I was sharing my advice. I started to tell them about my simple strategy and to encourage them to start speaking German right away. One of the first people who listened to my advice was a friend and colleague of mine, Saurabh. He comes from India, and he kept postponing the moment to start learning German for different reasons. I don't know what reasons, no time, no available course, no mood, and so on. One day I told him, look, Saurabh, today, 28th of August, you go to the bookstore and you buy a book for learning German. Any book. You read through, you make some notes, you learn some words, and as soon as possible you start to speak. I shared with him my simple formula to master different situations, and he immediately started to make progress. He started to speak, and he's been improving his German since then. As more and more people were asking for my advice regarding learning German, one crazy thought came to my mind. I would like to help as many people as possible to speak German fast, but in order to do that, I first have to learn the methods for learning and teaching German. My feeling was that I needed a solid theoretical background in the most modern teaching methods. And I also wanted to make sure that my special method, my 5-step formula, is also backed up by professional teaching methods and research. So what about becoming a certified German teacher? This dream has been chasing me for many years. That's why one day, after almost 8 years in Germany, I decided to apply to postgraduate study program of the German Goethe Institute and University of Vienna in Germany to finally become a teacher for German as a foreign language. Although the next 1.5 years, the whole duration of this course were very hard for me because I was working full-time and I'm still working full-time in my product management job in Austria. What it came after was very rewarding. Since I began my studies for becoming a German teacher, until today, I've been teaching many students offline and online and face-to-face. The results are amazing. My students get better and better every day. Their confidence has been growing with each lesson. We no longer use English for explanations, zero, but most important for them is what speaking German facilitated for them. And this is how German Superfast was born.